Hello, and welcome to the University of Utah's 2022 Truth and Tuition hearing. I'm Sean Wood, Communications and PR Manager with University Marketing and Communications, and we thank you for joining today. First, we'll be hearing from Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Martell Teasley, who will talk about the university's growth trajectory. Provost Teasley will then turn the time over to Mark Winter, Associate Vice President for Budget, and Jason Atuaya, Academic Affairs Executive Director of Budget and Finance, to discuss our proposed 5.2 overall tuition increase in tuition and fees. When they're finished, we'll answer a few pre-submitted questions. And now I would like to turn the time over to Dr. Martell Teasley. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a small correction. Jason will be going before Mark, but thank you for being here with us today. Student tuition and fees are critical to the health and stability of this institution. Without those educational investments, made student by student and family by family, we would not be able to provide the exceptional educational, innovative research, and community engagement the U is known for. And the future of this institution depends on thinking of new ways to do things as we innovate higher education in our state and grow our campus community. This is the University of Utah's class of 2025. We're all considering a question. How will the University of Utah change during the 4 years the class of 2025 is on campus? First, enrollment growth. The class of 2025 is a record-breaking freshman class for the university, a total of 5,361 students. This is the largest and most diverse class in the history of this institution. University leaders plan to take that momentum and build on it. Over the next 10 years, we expect to grow our student body to 40,000 students through increased online education offerings, certificate, and micro-master's degrees. A key part of that growth is meeting students where they are, helping them get a broad but practical education that will prepare them for the workforce of tomorrow and today, I might add. Our campuses in Harriman and West Valley City will do just that. In 2023, Salt Lake Community College and the University of Utah will open a joint 90-acre campus in Harriman. It will serve approximately 7,000 students by 2025. Students will be able to earn an associate's degree from Salt Lake Community College and a bachelor's degree from the U, all at one location. Salt Lake Community College transfer students account for about 1/3 of the U's bachelor's degree recipients. Second, as our student body grows, we also expect its makeup to change. We already have students joining us at every point in their lifetimes as new high school graduates, mid-career professionals, and lifelong learners who have retired from full-time work. Having a broad spectrum of perspectives and life experiences come together on our campus, whether from our international students, non-traditional second career students, or our first generation students, makes the University of Utah a better place to learn, teach, and work. In 2021, 28% of our undergraduate students and 19% of our graduate students are domestic students of color. More than 1/3 of our freshman class, 36%, are students of color compared to 25% of Utah high school students. University leaders firmly believe our diversity is our strength. And over the next 5 years, we expect the University of Utah to achieve status as a Hispanic serving institution with 25% or more Hispanic or Latino total undergraduate enrollment. In 2018, more than 530 colleges and universities across the country were designated Hispanic serving institutions by the federal government. This change will reflect not only the changing demographic makeup of the community around us, but the strength of the university's undergraduate education experience. Finally, we want to provide all University of Utah students with an exceptional education that they can't get anywhere else. So what is the U experience? Well, we think it's hands-on experimental learning, living and learning with cohorts of your closest friends in a friendly classroom competition in our live-learn communities, opportunities to engage in research with faculty who are the best in their fields of study, and it's getting the tools and know-how to build your own business from the ground up, entrepreneurship. All as an undergraduate, and this is remarkable, and I'm very excited about these opportunities. And just one example of the higher education innovation our staff and faculty are working on, we will be launching a new certificate program in artificial intelligence next year. Students in this new program will study artificial intelligence through a social justice lens. The project is a collaboration of our College of Humanities and the Scientific Computing and Imaging Institute, better known as SCI, at the College of Engineering. These are the kinds of creative transformations of the way we teach and learn that students will only be able to experience here at the University of Utah. Now, I'll turn the time over to Jason Atua, Executive Director of Budget and Finance, who will explain our proposed tuition increase. Jason?
Thank you, Senior Vice President Teasley, and thank you everyone for joining us this year. Our proposed tuition increase for 2023 is an up to 6% increase, or $258.85 per semester for a full-time in-state undergraduate student taking 15 credit hours. The current rate is $4,314.15. Adding the increase of $258.85, the new proposed total is $4,573 for a full-time in-state undergraduate student taking 15 credit hours. At the end of this year, there will also be a change to mandatory student fees. The Union Building student fee will end, which will reduce the current total by $2.35 or 0.4%. The current total fee amount of $594.24 will be reduced by $2.35 to make the new total of $591.89 per semester for a full-time in-state undergraduate student taking 15 credit hours. Our current estimate for tuition revenue this year is approximately $286 million. Now, to summarize the breakdown from the previous slides again, tuition will increase by no more than 6% or $258.85 per semester. Mandatory student fees will decrease by $2.35 or 0.4% per semester. So overall, combining the proposed tuition increase and the student fee decrease, tuition and fees will increase by no more than $256.50 or 5.2% per semester. The tuition increase is our proposed recommendation and is not yet final. There are two upcoming steps necessary for approval. First, the University of Utah Board of Trustees will meet on March 9th to vote on their recommendation for tuition changes. Second, their recommendation will then be made to the Utah Board of Higher Education during its meeting on March 24th and 25th, where the final tuition rate will be approved. To give a little more context around our proposed increase, the University of Utah, like our students and our community, has been hit hard by the impact of COVID-19. Hiring and salary freezes were implemented early in the pandemic. No salary increases were given during the year 2020, and this culminated to an open job position count of 587. Purchase and travel restrictions were also put into place early on, and we continue to be mindful about our spending and where we travel. Like many others across our community, state, and nation, we are facing inflation and supply chain challenges, which is not only increasing the price of the goods and services that we acquire, but it is also adding a substantial lag on when we can obtain certain goods and services. Last but certainly not least, COVID-19 has increased a variety of our costs and reduced our revenue in many areas as we focused on trying to keep our students, faculty, staff, and community safe. We recognize and understand that our students have faced and continue to face many challenges and difficulties because of the impact of the pandemic. We also recognize our students' adaptability, their determination, and their perseverance as they take on a variety of obstacles in these very unique times. Decisions to increase tuition are not taken lightly. When proposals for increases are submitted, we consider many factors, particularly the cost to our students, the quality of education and experiences that they deserve, and the long-term vitality of being a top research university in the region and across the nation. A few of the additional resources that we continue to provide for our students include increased scholarship and fundraising efforts to offset student expenses. One such example is the For Utah Scholarship. Also, to date, $42 million in higher education emergency relief funds have been awarded to students. We continue to provide COVID-19 testing, personal protective equipment, and have implemented other safety measures around campus. We are also proposing to eliminate the $60 online fee. We work very hard to provide as many resources as possible to our students while trying our best to offset their costs and keep their costs down. The University of Utah is one of the greatest institutions of higher education, not only in the nation, but in the world. So in order for us to sustain and enhance that notoriety, we do need to propose a tuition increase. There are a few critical areas that the tuition increase will support. A big part will fund the university's portion of the faculty and salary staff increases that are approved during the state legislature's general session. This year, it looks like the salary increase approval will be around 3.5%, but we are still waiting on final confirmation of that salary increase rate. So if it is 3.5%, then of that 3.5%, the state will fund 75%, and the University of Utah must support the remaining 25%. In addition, as mentioned earlier, at the beginning of the pandemic, the university implemented hiring freezes and eliminated salary increases. Fast forward to our current job market that is highly competitive across many industries and sectors, and we find ourselves in a situation where we must realign the equity of faculty and staff salaries, not only to hire great people, but to retain them as well. One example of a staff position that we know is critical to our students graduating on time and navigating the university are academic advisors. We are working in earnest to address salary equity issues and providing positions like these with competitive pay rates so we can hire, train, and retain great faculty and staff. This is critical in supporting the continued success of our students. Now, before I turn over the rest of the presentation to Dr. Mark Winter, the Associate Vice President for Budget and Finance, I want to cap off these first few slides with a slide showing the opportunity cost of delaying graduation. This graph shows the rising tuition costs and the rising opportunity costs for an undergraduate resident student who graduates beyond 4 years. The opportunity cost, shown in red, is the missed potential of generating a salary with a bachelor's degree because the student is still working to finish their degree. We estimate that $20,000 is the difference in the annual full-time earnings of those with a 4-year degree and those with some college and no degree. So a student who graduates after 7 years will pay $47,600 in tuition, which is $8,700 more than a student who finishes in 4 years. But in addition, this same student missed out on the opportunity to earn $60,000 because of the additional 3 years it took to finish their degree. This is a very simple graph showing the opportunity cost for a student who is unable to finish their degree in 4 years. There are certainly other things that could drive the total cost higher, like inflation, or missing out on potential benefits packages, or capturing retirement contributions and starting retirement investment periods sooner rather than later. This is why the University of Utah is emphasizing our commitment to providing resources that are critical to our students' success in graduating as soon as possible. Hiring, training, and retaining our amazing faculty and staff, especially in this competitive job market, is part of our commitment and our investment to our students' success. And with that, I turn over the rest of the time to Dr. Mark Windsor.
Thank you, Jason. And just to follow back up on what Jason mentioned, that there are a couple approval processes that we still are going through. So the up to 6% number is something that we hope will be less. We're waiting for the legislature to finish their session this year to know how much of a salary increase we're expected to cover. And then we will meet with the Board of Trustees and the Board of Higher Education with a final request. It will not be over 6%. And again, hopefully will be less than that. To give you some context of our enrollment, the last 2 years have been anything but normal. We've all struggled with the impact of COVID-19. During this difficult period, we've been fortunate to continue to grow the University of Utah and have had record size of incoming freshman classes for the past 2 years. Our conservative projection for next year is a 1% growth, but we're starting to see signs of another busy fall with the potential for yet another record-breaking class size. 3 years of record classes have created a need to continue to hire more faculty to teach additional classes so students do not have any bottleneck courses to slow down their path to graduation in 4 years. We've worked hard to limit increases wherever we can, and I'm pleased to note there are no requests to increase student fees this year. In fact, we've eliminated one fee beginning next year, which will mean a slight overall cost to students each semester, an overall decrease in cost for students. Our student fees are targeted to provide additional services which directly benefit all of our students. We continue to monitor these each year to determine if they're appropriate or if they need to be changed to meet current student needs. We know tuition is expensive and is a great concern for current and future students and their families. But the University of Utah remains one of the best values in the nation for students, and we have the lowest tuition and fees of our peer institutions. In this graph, you can see our annual tuition and fees is the lowest among our peer group of public Pac-12 and Big Ten research institutions. These are the institutions that are most closely linked and similar to the University of Utah, and we consider this our peer group and attempt to make sure our students are receiving a better education than other schools in this group. The challenges of attending college can be steep for students financially and steep for their families as well. But we do believe that value of the university degree is unmatched. Graduates from the University of Utah typically enjoy the highest salaries of any graduate from a public college or university in the state of Utah. In addition, the University of Utah has the highest graduation rate of all public schools in the state. Both of these combine to help create that value-added benefit of a University of Utah degree. Prior investments have been made to help students graduate quicker and on time. If you look at this graph showing our 4, 6, and 8-year graduation rates for the last 7 years, you'll notice in about 2013 and 14, the numbers are lower with a jump in 2015. This was a direct result of an investment in academic advisors. So we know there are certain things that we can invest in that will help students not only graduate, but graduate sooner and on time. Our goal is to continue to enhance those students to provide resources that make sense for our students to be able to get a good education as quickly as possible. Graduating in 4 years compared to 6 or more, as Jason noted, has an immense financial impact on what students pay as well as how much they earn in lifetime earnings. Our goal is to continue to find ways to help students graduate on time. Graduating in 4 years is the easiest way to keep college costs down while still providing a world-class education, degree, and job skills for our students. The value of a University of Utah degree is enhanced because of the type of institution we are. We're a public research university. Our faculty are not just teaching new knowledge, but they're also creating it, and they do so in partnership with undergraduate and graduate students. The type of degrees and jobs produced by the University of Utah is critical in meeting the state of Utah's need for an educated and skilled workforce. These University of Utah degrees, the STEM degrees produced by the University of Utah are the most in the state. These are the high demand degrees that are driving our economy today. We know that the cost of higher ed is not shared equally across our student body, and there are potential students who would like to come to the U but can't afford to. We've worked hard to offset the increases in the cost of higher education by providing our students more financial aid. You can see in this chart the amount of financial aid that was given last year. Also, you'll notice the number of students who've completed the FAFSA application. This is the federal application for financial and student aid. Not all of our students complete this, and this is the first step in determining if there are scholarships or other aid available for you. I would encourage you all to please complete your FAFSA. Even if you don't qualify for support this year, it might make the difference in other opportunities that become available. Not only have we helped students with scholarshiping, we were also fortunate to receive some federal money to support our efforts during the past 2 years during the COVID pandemic. And $42 million of federal money was distributed to eligible students. We've also reduced our student fees this year, eliminated the $60 online fee, created a $1.2 million emergency fund that was set up to help students with essential needs, and $2.8 million for students who have re-enrolled after interruption from the pandemic. All of these are meant to help our students graduate sooner. The last thing I want to share with everyone is just a reminder of all the amazing student services that are available. And I'd encourage students to please check these out and take advantage of the services and opportunities offered. Most of these services are provided by the general student fees that you pay already. There's no cost for you to take advantage of these, and they can be incredibly helpful in keeping you on track and helping you get your degree and succeed at the University of Utah. I believe that's the end of our presentation, other than questions. Sean, do we have any questions today?
So the first question is, how do you justify the ramifications this tuition raise will have on the middle class students who pay their own tuition? Provost Teasley, would you respond to this question?
Thank you for that question, Sean, and from the audience member who provided it. As I said in my brief presentation, student tuition and fees are critical to the health and stability of this institution. And it is a need that we have in terms of providing a quality education experience. While the proposed tuition increase may seem high to some, it's very modest in terms of where our Pac-12 university colleagues are at, as well as I've just read in the Chronicle of Higher Education, that on the average, there's a 9.1% increase proposed by public institutions. Also, the second part of that is that the plan for the university is to increase scholarship offers to students. And so we, on the one hand, while we're increasing tuition, we actually plan to defer the cost for certain students, as well as we know that about 800 students per year pay no tuition at all. We expect that to grow as the total number of students recruited to the University of Utah grow.
All right, thank you, Provost Teasley. Our next question that was submitted reads, sports coaches' salaries are too high. That needs to be addressed and redistributed to meet the actual goals of the university. Associate Vice President Winter, would you respond to this question?
Thanks for the question. It's an important question. I might suggest that a different forum would be a better place to address it, though, because although there are a lot of expenses associated with college athletics, we don't use student tuition revenue to support athletics. They're all self-supported. They make money from lucrative television contracts and athletic organization fees that they receive through the Pac-12. So it's a valid question, and I appreciate the concern. It's probably outside the scope of what we're looking at today, though.
All right, thank you. I think we'll have you handle this question as well. How would the proposed salary increases be distributed?
Thank you. Good question. Jason alluded to a lot of this in his part of the presentation. Most of the funding is going to go directly to support salaries for our faculty and staff. Part of this will be a required increase in salaries that the state has provided for the University of Utah. And part of this will go to targeted areas where we've got salary compression and competitive issues. As Jason noted, the job market right now is incredibly hot, and there are some fields that are particularly difficult to find people, including a field of IT, anything related to healthcare and finance as well. So we're facing immense pressure to keep and retain a qualified workforce to support students and their education. This money will go to continue to support those efforts and to provide services to help students graduate quicker.
All right, VP Winter, thank you so much for that information. Now we have a couple of questions that are related to scholarships and financial aid. And today we have with us our Executive Director of Scholarships and Financial Aid, Anthony Jones, to answer the next two questions. So the first one reads, are student loan amounts limited? And what is the interest on the loans?
All right, thank you. Yes, I'll start with the interest rate on the loans first. So the federal student loan interest rates adjust each year. So loans made this year, the current interest rates are 3.73% for undergraduate student borrowers, 5.28% for graduate and professional student borrowers, and 6.28% for Parent Plus and Grad Plus loan borrowers. And again, those reset each year on for effective July 1. Regarding student loan limits, really for the federal student loans, there's 4 types of limits on borrowing: an annual loan limit, an aggregate loan limit, the cost of attendance of need, as well as a credit check. I'll start with the annual loan limit. So there are federal limits to the amount the student can borrow each academic year. These annual limits are standard by classification: freshman, sophomore, junior, graduate, except undergraduates, the amount does differ based on that classification of freshman, sophomore, junior, or senior. When it comes to a cost of attendance, a student cannot borrow a federal student loan amount that, in combination with all other types of financial aid they're receiving, such as scholarships, grants, work study, any other loans, that would exceed the student's cost of attendance. So that may limit the amount that can be borrowed. Just as a reminder, the cost of attendance is determined based on a student's program of study and includes not only allowances for tuition and fees, but also allowances for expenses such as books, housing, meals, and transportation. The aggregate loan limit is another limit where there are federal limits on the total amount a student can borrow cumulatively across their enrollment over the years and across all college enrollment. So that would be sort of a maximum level that you can borrow of those annual loan limits. And then the 4th type for plus loan borrowers, that would be the Parent Plus or the Grad Student Plus loan. The borrower must also be able to pass a credit check, which could limit borrowing. So those are the main 4 types of borrowing limits on borrowing. This information addresses mainly federal student loans. There are also private or some alternative student loan options. For additional information on all our loan options, you can go to our website, financialaid.utah.edu, and under the section of types of aid, there's a section on grants and loans that goes into more detail.
Fantastic, thank you. And we did receive a similar question to this that was submitted through the Q&A, but will there be more scholarship options or other help for students in the upcoming year?
Sure. Fortunately, the U has over 1,800 departmental scholarship opportunities across campus for which undergraduate, graduate, and professional students are encouraged to apply. In addition, we have on our website links to external or outside scholarship opportunities that students can search, review, and apply for separately. For additional information on all scholarship options, again, on our website, financialaid.utah.edu, under the types of aids area, there's a section for scholarships that explains all of these options and how you can participate or apply as appropriate. One thing to mention is we are working to implement a single search process for not only those external, but also our institutional and departmental scholarship opportunities. We hope to have that search function available by mid to late 2023, so a little over a year.
That search feature will definitely come in handy in the future. That's very exciting. Thank you for your time. Not seeing any more questions. With that, we would like to end our 2022 Truth in Tuition hearing and like to thank all of our presenters for the time and information that they presented today and explaining our plans for the tuition fees during the 2022 and 2023 academic year. So we'll be posting this video later at the U. It can be accessed and watched at any time. And again, thank you for joining us and have a good day.